Hello, I'm Neko Vick.
And I'm Vick.
This year's National History Day topic is Turning Points in History. Our turning point in history is Pattie Hilsman and how she impacted Clark County and its education. Pattie Hilsman broke the gender barrier and transformed leadership in Clark County. Pattie remained single her entire life and focused instead on being an educational leader when no other female in Georgia was so brave as to take on a leadership role of a school.
Pattie dedicated most of her life to educating others. This is how she made the Clark County schools better for the children and others. First, she taught in Jackson and Morgan County, then she taught elementary school in Athens. Later on, she also taught Latin and Greek at Athens High School, now Clark Central High School, and became the first principal of a junior high and the first female principal in Clark County.
Pattie's mother, married to John Owen Hilsman on the 23rd of February, 1870, was born in 1852 and died in 1929, just a few years after Pattie started as the principal of Athens Junior High, now Clark Middle School. Pattie continued to live with her mother and sisters throughout her entire life, teaching her the power and strength of women.
Pattie Hilsman is part of a large Confederate family, having 7 siblings, 5 boys and 3 girls including Pattie, with her being one of the youngest. Her father was born in 1845 and died in 1907. His name was John Owen Hilsman. He had 5 siblings, 3 boys and 2 girls including himself, and he did fight in the Confederate War. This troubled history leads to people to believe that Hilsman should also have its name changed in the similar way of Alps and Chase Street Elementary because of her father and Thomas R.R. Cobb, a family friend of the Hilsman family who also happened to be the founder of the Lucy Cobb Institute, the school Pattie went to.
Lucy Cobb was an institute in Athens, Georgia. It was a secondary school for young ladies from well-known nearby families. The school was founded in 1859 by Thomas R.R. Cobb. He named the school after his eldest daughter, who died at the early age of 13. Thomas was an American lawyer, author, and politician, and he fought in the Confederate War. He died on December 13, 1862.
As you know, Pattie grew up in a wealthy and popular family. She attended the Lucy Cobb Institute in Athens. Later in college, she attended the University of Chicago and went to graduate school at UGA, Tennessee, and Columbia. She was very smart and a hard worker.
Hilsman comes from the Americanized form of the German word Hilsman with 2 N's, which means strife or battle. The name Pattie comes from the Latin name Patricia, which means nobleman, a man who belongs to a noble class. This is significant as Pattie bravely took on many roles that would otherwise only been given to men historically. Pattie battled throughout her entire life to blaze new trails for women in Athens, Georgia. For this reason, on her deathbed, the superintendent, Samuel Woods, wrote her a letter encouraging her that he would name the future Eastside Middle School after her to honor her legacy of female leadership in Clark County.
During the time of Pattie Hilsman's teaching career, many people largely disapproved of miniature high schools for improperly teaching kids. Within 20 years of loud, persistent calls for development, it was finally heard. In 50 years, the altar is being made to create middle schools or junior highs, and not just for miniature schools, but for every school, letting middle schools be introduced at around the 1910s.
During the time when Pattie Hilsman was young, superintendents and college presidents were disappointed at the carelessness of the present-day school establishment. Waste is what they called it, and it was used to decrypt undergraduates who had left their school early because they had been held back so many times. This was a problem because if less and less people were graduating, less and less jobs would be filled. Later, thankfully, this became less of a problem after creating better education programs and creating junior highs, including Pattie's hard work on making education better. Pattie Hilsman never had to deal with this problem, though, because during her education at Lucy Cobb, all the girls were among the elite groups of students, so they never had a problem with this area in girls' education.
During Pattie's childhood, education was developing. People were noticing that for all the new industrialization to continue and to work, people needed more education. More and more immigrants were coming to the United States that didn't know how to read, write, or even speak English. This led to more people needing training or industrial jobs. A couple years later, they added manual training to elementary school so that later in life it would be easier to get a job. Then later in Pattie's life, she became an educator and helped many kids and families.
Our school, Hilsman Middle, was named after Pattie Hilsman in honor of her hard work in Clark County. Pattie worked as an educator in Clark County from 1906 through 1951. That's 45 years. During that time, she worked as the principal of Athens Junior High on Child Street for the 7th and 8th grade for 26 years. She died in Florida on August 28, 1964, and was buried in the Oconee Hills Cemetery in Athens, Georgia.
Today, some kids believe that Pattie still haunts the halls at Hilsman Middle. People claim to have seen the piercing blue eyes of the portrait of Pattie Hilsman in the library to follow them around. And some people say they can hear Pattie telling them to stay on the right side of the hallway when they're on the wrong side.
I'm Abby Green.
And I'm Neko Vick.
I hope you enjoyed learning about this turning point in history.
Bye!